until I see that we are live. What's going on, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Tommy. Hello, Emma. How are you guys?
Great.
I'm good.
Good. So, I mean, we've come now to the end of the national selection season, and as it tends to be, we are finishing with Sweden, which is Emma's home country. And I'm really excited to be talking about these 12 finalists who could potentially be representing Sweden. Before we get to that, though, let's set the tone and put on a little tune.
Yay.
So hey, we're back. So we'd love to know what you guys think about these 12 songs that are in the running to represent Sweden. We'll be sharing our own thoughts. Of course, we have a little bit of a mix because, I'm from very, very far away in Canada, so I have my own take on how things go. Tommy is from I almost said you're from Sweden. Tommy's from Ireland, so I'm sure you've got your take. And then Emma is representing your home country today. And Emma, you've joined us for pretty much every video that we've done for Melfest this year. So first I'm going to go to Tommy, and I want your general impressions on the songs for this year. What do you think?
I mean, as always with Melodifestivalen, it's just like top quality. The other national finals in some ways are like in a different tier, it seems. But yeah, the Melfest final lineup this year is just incredible, and it's going to be really, really tight at the top, I think. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting weekend.
Definitely. And Emma, you've been joining me to talk about, the lead up to this moment, because we've seen all we've seen all the semifinals. This is a national selection. And of course, last week we had the Under Hansen round. So we have our 12 finalists. How do you feel about this being the list of potential representatives for Sweden at Eurovision?
But I think it's the right songs are in the final. Absolutely. It's only one song I missed, and can you guess which one it is, Stuart?
I'm pretty sure I know. I believe it would be the Evas with Rena Rama Ding Dong. I mean, hey, in other years, people would have said that would have been left in the semifinal. So at least they got some love, enough to get to Under Hansen. But it was actually Clara's year to go to the final.
And she was also good.
She was. And before we get to our very first song, let's say hello to some people who are joining us. Hello to Sarah Halloran, who is always joining us for our videos. Hello to Sam Ravenbach, who's saying Tusse for the win. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of that. And Sarah's saying the mamas. I hope we see a lot of that as well, personally. Joanne Johnson, hello to you. Hello to ESC Menga. Hello to Neil Era. All right. So very quickly, Tommy, can you run us down go through the running list and tell us who we're going to be talking about?
Yes, this is going to challenge my Swedish pronunciation, but I'll give it a go. So we've got
Dani Saucedo. Help whenever needed.
Yeah, I'm sorry for butchering your language in advance, but first of all, we have Dani Saucedo, Dandi Dansa. Then we have Clara Hammarström with Beat a Broken Heart. Mm-hmm. We have Anton Ewald with New Religion. We have the Mamas, of course, with In the Middle. We have Paul Ray with The Missing Piece. Charlotte Perrelli with Still Young. Tusse with his song Voices. And Alvaro Estrella with Baila Baila. Clara Klingenström, Behöver, inte, idag.
Behöver, inte, idag.
Okay, that's what I meant. That's exactly what I meant.
Don't worry, this has been every time we've done these videos. I give it a try. Nonetheless, continue.
I'm trying. Eric Saade with Every Minute, Daughter with Little Tot, and Arvingarna with Tänker, inte, idag.
Good job.
Excellent.
Thank you. I'll take a deep breath there.
So before we get to our very first one, we've got a few more people joining us, sharing with us who they want to win. We've got Neil Era saying the Mamas. We've got Linda saying Doctor. We've got Mark saying Eric must win, but it will be a battle with Doctor and Tusse. Again, I'm sure we'll see a lot of that. Jessica, on the other hand, is saying that Charlotte Perrelli is her favorite this year. Neil Era doesn't really think it's going to be Daughter's year. And ESC Manga says Daughter or Clara K. So let's begin with Dani Saucedo with Dandi Dansa. Early on, before we actually heard the songs, he was leading the odds to win. Definitely a bit of a change now. I don't think that we're really considering him one of the favorites, but at least he landed himself a spot in the final from the very beginning. So Emma, let's start with you. Your thoughts on Dandi Dansa?
Well, first of all, you could hear the title that this was not going to be a new amazing. He is not going to be the runner-up as he usually becomes in this contest. But it's a nice song. You dance to it. It's a very good song to start with, absolutely. But it will not be in the final battle, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we've been seeing a lot this year with Melfest is that there has been a lot of songs that are kind of lighthearted and fun and easygoing. They've been doing pretty well. The question about whether or not they're going to win is it is a big question. Tommy, how does this one sit with you?
Yeah, I agree completely with Emma. It's like a nice, fine song, but in Eurovision terms, nice and fine is not going to work. It's not good enough. And I also think, I mean, the staging is really, really interesting to watch what he does on the stage and all those mechanics and movements. That's awesome. But without that, I don't think the song would even have that much of a consideration. May not even have been in the final, in my opinion. It's a little bit too much of gimmickry for me, but it's a nice song, as Emma said.
Yeah, and with regards to the staging, I'm sure that this has been talked about in other circles, but were any of you very heavily reminded by or reminded of Virtual Insanity, Jamiroquai with the staging?
No, but now that you mention it, yes.
Yeah?
I get it. Yeah.
Emma, have you seen this video?
I think so. I think you showed it to me earlier, maybe. And yeah, it's very inspired that he made his own touch of it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if people can hear that, but I believe that some construction has just started on top of everything. Nonetheless, it wasn't me passing gas or anything.
That's okay.
But yeah, I mean, I would say that like in terms of bringing this to a contest like Melfest, the staging, it's ambitious in the sense that it's something that takes really tight execution. I don't feel like it's all the way there though. Like it's definitely a very choreographed kind of visual thing. But I don't know. Like you can see that with the movement of the whole set, like it shakes the camera, and I think even like the kind of cardboard surrounding part of it, like because I can't shake the Jamiroquai comparisons, and I'm seeing all those things. Like it might sound a little bit nitpicky, but it does make me think that it kind of reads as a little bit cheap, in my opinion. But I mean, enjoyable nonetheless. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that?
It's interesting to read what is said on the boxes. For example, there was one phone number to a random woman who was called very lot. So they had to apologize to her afterwards.
Oh.
And there was like some small quotes like more beer and the bar. And I think something with Dan. No, Erik Saade and the heart, I think it was also on one of the boxes.
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a lot more humor that we're not picking up on. But Tommy, your thoughts on the staging?
Yeah, I mean, you do have to give him props for essentially producing a live music video. It very much looks like a music video, except he's doing it all live. So you do have to give him props for that. But I guess at the end of the day, it is a song contest and not a live music video contest. So yeah, he definitely gets points for, I mean, that is an incredible thing to be able to achieve in 3 minutes and coordinate all of that and work with those dancers and the props. But yeah, the song is just not strong enough in my opinion. But staging, yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm. I think we can all agree that this is the right way to at least start the show, because it's feel good and kind of silly, but something that's entertaining, which is at least the one thing that Melfest does pretty well. Neil Era is saying that they like Danny better than Eric. Good vibes. And also saying that he could win if juries push it like Robin in 2017. They love this kind of staging and funky songs. Interesting. I see what you're saying as well. Swede Miro, the biggest reason that Danny starts is the elaborate setup. It takes too long to set up. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
so there's
why
more
not?
going on here.
So they're already there setting it up right now.
Yeah, exactly. Dominic saying hello. Linda saying Danny knows that he won't win. He's there to have fun, which, and that's good as well. Like, not everybody who competes, obviously, it's very competitive, but not everybody is there to win. And at least he's giving us a moment that people really like. Dominic is asking, do you think the jury winner and the televote one will be the same? Ooh, interesting question. What do you think, Tommy?
Who I have in mind for my winner could actually be the winner of both. So I think that is possible.
Okay.
Should I reveal who that is?
Hold that thought until the end.
Well, that thought, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say too much either, but I think it will be even. They will be kind of agreeing with each other, but I think one of the top candidates will have the most from the telephone, and one of the top candidates will have the most from the jury. But they were very even, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting year, and we'll get into some of those favorites. But now let's move on to the next song. We've got Clara Hammarström back from last year after not making it beyond the semifinal, and now is in the final. Of course, she did have to do that through Under Hansen, but nonetheless, her song is called "Beat of Broken Hearts." Let's begin with you, Tommy. This time, what do you think about this one?
I really, really like it. It's like an ultimate Schlager pop song, and I find it really infectious. I can't get that tune out of my head. It's coming back to me throughout the day quite often. So I really like it. And the production, especially on the verse production, is so good. Lyrically, nothing special, like kind of generic love song lyrics, but her voice is so good and she makes it so effortless. So for that reason, I think, yeah, it's one of the, probably in the top half, in my opinion, of the songs. Her outfit is very interesting. I'm trying to think if it's a reference to like the Tin Man, like Broken Heart, Tin Man, something like that.
Yeah, like from the Wizard of Oz. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
I never made that connection, but I know that her wardrobe has been a bit of a topic of discussion. I remember it was something that we mentioned when we discussed the song, right, Emma?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I'm searching for an explanation.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this one's competitive potential? By the way, I'll mute my mic because Sarah's saying the noise is driving her mad. Go ahead.
Well, I think this was definitely an entry that was benefited by going through Andra Chansen. Absolutely, it's a growing song. And I think she must be the contestant that is the most happy to be in the final, and maybe the most unexpected as well. So it's a good song, and it gets better and better, I think.
Yeah, I have to say, like, performance-wise, this is really, it deserves a place in the final because her vocals are great. She might actually have one of the best vocal performances out of all of the performances here. I mean, the song, I feel like, all of us are kind of really middle of the road on the song. I agree with you, Emma, that it does kind of grow a little bit more. But I mean, maybe, not the most competitive one. At least there's lots going on visually, I would say. And she's selling it. She's fully committed to this performance. It's just a shame that it's not the most interesting song. Linda is saying "Beat of Broken Hearts" is so catchy and she's so talented. Yeah, I think that's pretty unanimous. We all can at least get behind the performance. Sarah O'Halloran saying she really likes the Wizard of Oz, especially the Cowardly Lion. Neil Era, not many comments about Clara. That might mean something. I mean, well, yeah. In this case, like, we haven't really seen her as a favorite, and in terms of songs that have gone on to win Melfest after going through Under Hansen, it happens very, very, very seldomly. And like, the only example that I can think of was 2013, and I'm already forgetting the guy's name. Robin
Stjernberg.
Say again.
Robin Stjernberg.
Okay, that's the one. So yeah, I mean, in this case, yeah, not necessarily a favorite to win, but a deserved place in the final. Let's move on to number 3. So in the third spot, we got Anton Ewald with his song "New Religion." He earned his ticket directly to the final in semifinal 2, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with you, Emma, this time. What do you think about that song?
The lip syncing boy is here.
Wow,
No.
shots fired.
No, but this is actually the opposite for Klara, I think. The first time I heard the song, I thought it was catchy, it was good, it was like power, exploding start of the song. But it gets worse every time I hear this one, actually. And I like, even if it's his lip syncing, I like Anton. He is a good artist on stage, absolutely. But this will be in the bottom, I think.
Interesting. I feel like this is kind of the the type of song that people associate with Melfest. And I take your points about the vocals not being as good as they should be. I'm curious how you feel about this one, Tommy.
I definitely can relate to the comment about it being quite heavily supported by backing vocals, recorded backing vocals. So yeah, I guess that counts a little bit against him. But I do like the song. Actually, it reminds me a bit of Eric Sade's Popular, especially with the drum beats and the drum breakdown in the middle, dance breakdown in the middle. So that's quite an interesting turn of events. But I like it. But to be honest, I think it's not the direction that I think we've seen this kind of thing from Sweden before at Eurovision. So I don't think it would be a good decision for them to send something that's quite similar to that what we've seen before and has been successful but not a winner. So I like it, but yeah, it's not the one for me.
Yeah, I have to say, I feel pretty much the same as you two. I do think that there are certain things to mention that work really well. Probably the best light show out of all the entries. It's really dynamic. Helps bring the song to life. Choreography is really tight, especially the footwork. Like it's that in itself, I think is a show. But at the end of the day, the song should be there and the performance should be there. And in this case, I feel like neither of them are. I'm curious to know what you guys say. Linda's saying that she's missing begging from Anton. So I imagine this was a previous entry from him.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember what year that was?
Oh, let me Google that. Begging.
In the meantime, Neil Era is saying he's doing something that the Swedish audience has already seen from him. Michael Forbes saying Anton has come back with 3 very similar songs, a bit dull. Yaya Ding Dong fan is just joining.
Yay!
Play Yaya Ding Dong. I see the icon in your profile icon, and I just hear him shouting, "Play Yaya Ding Dong."
Maybe that's where Eva and Eva got their inspiration.
Yes, that's what I was just thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that too. I wonder how many people who have entered a national selection this year have seen the Eurovision movie, and perhaps many of them did. But yeah.
Begging, it was 2013. And why I think, I saw a question here in the chat, why I think it gets worse, actually, every time I listen to it, is because it's similar to his earlier performances in Melodifestivalen. And it gets too repetitive for me.
Yeah. I mean, in this case, I think it's pretty unanimous that the song's not there. It's entertaining, but it needs something that is deeper than that. And I do feel like sometimes Melfest can get away with this. I don't think that they should though. But we'll discuss that a little bit further, a little bit deeper a little bit later. Hello to Nicola, who's just joining us. And Linda's saying, I have to see Begging because apparently it was really, really good. But now let's talk about number 4. Of course, now we've got the reigning champions, the Mamas. Their song this year is called In the Middle. Tommy, I want to know, how do you feel about their song this year?
So I really like it. I mean, the Mamas, first of all, just as artists, as their vocal group, it's just incredible to see them back on the stage again. Like the voices, they're just so beautiful, so endearing, and it just feels like a warm hug coming through your television screen. Also, their vocal sound together is just incredible. It's very characteristic of them, and like you can instantly recognize it. The song this year, I know I don't want to compare it to last year, but the song this year for me is not as good. But I think they will be in the, they'll be heading for the top end of the leaderboard. So all in all, good. I think their staging is a little bit better this year, actually, I will say. And the choreography, which seems to work very well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was always going to be the challenge because of the fact that they really they've been kind of synonymous with Melfest for the last few years, even though in 2019 it was because they were supporting the act that won, but people still really loved them. They won last year again. So it is going to be a question as to what kind of role that will play into their success. Emma, how do you feel about the Mamas this year?
I totally agree with Tommy, and but you can't. It's impossible to not love the Mamas. They can sing anything, and they will still be so good, and you will love them. And they're They are so beautiful. They just have some kind of glory when they come to the stage. It's hard to explain, but it's anything they sing, it turns to gold. Maybe.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I wrote down, because like they are masters at bringing uplifting, soulful songs. I don't know if I'm cutting off. On my end, it seems a little bit choppy.
Okay.
But okay, cool. Yeah, and like some people do that, and it seems really kind of corny and cheap, but they sell it. And this is kind of a bit of like it's not directly relevant to Melfest, but if you guys follow them on social media, recently they responded to one of the comparisons that they very frequently get, which are the muses from Hercules. And they did a little lip sync to the I think the opening song from Hercules. And I remember when I heard that the first time, I was like, okay, yeah, they're a soul group. That's it. But then when they actually have their outfits with like the flowy, the draping parts on the arms, clearly I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to fashion. But I see it totally, and I'm glad that they're kind of embracing that too, because they are so likable. I agree with you guys in the sense that this song isn't necessarily as strong as the one last year. I do still feel like it's the most well-rounded. When we talk about the other favorites, I'll explain why. Certainly I don't think that the victory is going to be handed to the Mamas, but I do want to believe that they're still a contender. I want to hear what some of you guys are saying. Mamas should be performing sixth in the running order, you mean, Yaya Ding Dong?
As they're in the middle.
Yes. ESC Manga saying the Mamas, it's impossible to win this year. It's a big question. I want to believe that they can still do it, but
nothing is impossible.
Exactly. Nicolas saying weaker but true to themselves. Neil Eris saying Mamas are so likable. Linda, the Mamas are queens. The song didn't hit me in the way that Move did. Yeah, I mean, I see certain people who are definitely like full 100% Team Mamas, but I do worry that because this is the more common opinion that I'm seeing, that people aren't as impressed. Like, maybe that is saying something. Michael Forbes, Move was such an amazing song. It was hard to come back with something that trumped that, but still top 3 for him. All the comments just shifted down. The Mamas performing, so Neil Era saying the Mamas performing after Clara and Anton will help them make an impression with the juries. Performing early help them as well. Potentially, yeah. Emma, do you have any thoughts on their spot in the running order?
No, but actually, this time it can benefit them to be in the first half, actually. Just because, yeah, what the comment said here. It's too kind of not weak, but yeah, compared to the other ones, it's perfect for the Mamas to be number 4, actually.
Yeah, I mean, certainly they're far away from the heavyweights, I would say, which we're going to be seeing more towards the end. So it could be something. I don't know, Tommy. Any other thoughts on how you could see them, the kind of score you could see them getting?
Yeah, I definitely think they'll be. I think they have a challenge on their hands. I think to defend their title. But I do really respect the fact that they stay true to their sound, which is obviously great for them. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. But I think they will do well, but I think they have a challenge on their hands. Yeah,
definitely a challenge. Now let's move on to the next act. We've got Paul Ray, who has once again, for the second year in a row, landed a spot in the final through Andra Hansen. So, pretty good thing to say that you've duplicated your success. Especially in successive years. Emma, how do you feel about the missing piece?
It's a very cute song, actually. I think he performs it very well. The lyrics is very cute. He sings about his daughter, but he will disappear. He's between two, like, Melfest Schlager divas, like between the Mamas and Charlotte Perrelli. So I'm afraid that he will disappear, but absolutely a good performance and a good song.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's always the risk when you come with something, because like I always feel like his songs are great for the radio, but it is a bit of a challenge to bring it to life on the Melfest stage, which I mean isn't to say that you can't do it, but it doesn't lend itself to staging as much as some of the other songs do. I don't know. How do you feel about the missing piece, Tommy?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I watched all the songs again last night in the order that they'll appear, and it's actually quite interesting the way his song is quite like a nice little bit of relief in the middle, because where the other songs are like such an assault on the senses, his is just so mellow and chilled. So that may work in his favor. Either two things will happen. Either it'll work in his favor or he'll disappear, like Emma's saying. But in terms of the song, yeah, I really like it. I appreciate that, like just the mellow, chilled out, like relaxed vibe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he might have the same effect as Franz in 2016. If I Were Sorry, there was like the mellow thing that was standing out in the contest. So you know, who knows?
Was he considered a favorite to win beforehand?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, but you know, like I would always be in favor of like a massive surprise like that. Even though, you know, I don't think it would be the best choice for Sweden if you know, we're spending all of this time, looking at these, you know, quote unquote favorites, and then somebody else comes up from behind and surprises us, then I don't know, that's a pretty interesting story. And in the case of Linda, she says that Paul Ray is her personal favorite. Nicola is saying that Paul is a grower, but won't stand out as much as others. Neil Eris saying, I liked Paul last year. Sometimes I forgot he's competing this year. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the case with understated songs. There aren't really, I don't know, would you say that any of the songs in the final are ballads? Because I would say this is probably the closest to a ballad. Or maybe like, I don't know, Clara, one of the Claras maybe?
Nah, I think this one absolutely is the closest. Okay. Yeah.
Sarah O'Halloran saying, missing pieces like when Duncan Lawrence lost a couple of pieces of his heart when he carried it home. Aw, that's so cute. Michael Forbes saying Paul's song, he likes the lyrics, but it has something missing. And Nicholas saying that you can hear the song is very personal to him. And yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think that he's so likable on stage, and one of the things that works well for him at Melfest. People can see like an authenticity in his performance. So, you know, I give my congratulations to him for you know, again, duplicating his success. But speaking of success, let's move on to who is in the sixth in the running order. Not the reigning champion, but has won Melfest on 2 occasions. It's the Schlager queen herself, Charlotte Perrelli, which I'm just going to call Charlotte from now on because I feel like that's easier. Tommy, your thoughts on her?
Yeah, so Charlotte, I mean, I really respect her legacy, having won Melfest twice, and oh my God, she looks incredible for having been in her career that long. But for me, it's a little bit the song is a little bit too on the nose and a little bit generic and nothing special. So for me, I don't think it's a winner or a winning potential. But I think she'll probably get a lot of votes from like her loyal fans. But yeah, it's nice to see her and it's a good song, but I don't think it's a winner.
I wouldn't say so either, but oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just add one more thing. And compared to the other songs that she did win with, it's not on the same level at all. Okay,
and that's something you agree with as well, Emma?
The only thing I compare it to right now is the song she competed with, the Swedish song, when she had the acoustic guitar. It was a very slow ballad, and she came last in her semifinal. So that's what I'm comparing it to. And then I think it's a great hit when I think about that. But you know, Charlotte Perrelli, it's the same like with the Mamas. She's very likable. And she has some kind of Schlager in the contest. And our Schlager fans in Sweden, particularly, we like that. We support that.
Yeah, and I've kind of accepted that I may never fully understand Schlager personally, but I can at least see why they call her the Schlager queen, because it's totally deserved. It's an enjoyable performance. Cheesy as hell, but she you know, she lives up to it. And yeah, I'm glad that she can at least give people who really live for Schlager that moment, because people clearly really like it. Neil Era saying that it's a pure guilty pleasure, and Sarah O'Halloran wants to be Charlotte's hero and take her to to my heaven. Nicola saying she's a legend and still young, aren't we all? And Linda saying, "Oh, Charlotte, you can tell she loves the song." Yeah, I mean, again, like selling the hell out of the performance. Yeah, giving people the moment that they clearly want. I don't know. Anything else to say about her, and where would we see her finishing? Do you think?
In the bottom,
Middle.
Unfortunately.
In the bottom, yeah. Tommy says in the middle, though.
I think the middle. Yeah, I think she'll have a lot of local fans that will support her.
I hope.
Yeah, in the public vote.
Because the jury is going to be an international jury, perhaps maybe she'll suffer a little bit with the jury vote, but do a bit better with the public vote. That would be my guess as far as how I've seen things go. But yeah, as always, we'll have to see. And now let's go on to someone who is definitely a huge favorite. This is Tusse. His song's called Voices. And speaking of voices, he's probably got one of the strongest in the final. Let's go to you, Emma. Your thoughts on Tusse?
That he's so talented and he's so young. And when he was competing in Idol and won that, every performance was like top quality. And he always gives it all. You can really notice that on stage. And I think I like the song with the bagpipes in the beginning and the staging with the dancers and the choir. And it's easy, but it's still powerful in some kind of way. And it sounds like a typical winning song.
I agree with you in many ways. I'm curious how this song lands with you, Tommy.
I think this is the one. This is the one to beat. It just has so much heart and meaning and passion. And like you can feel the weight of emotion coming through his performance, and I like that it's got quite a strong anthemic feel to it. And as Emma has said, his vocals are incredible and effortless on the stage. And yeah, those lyrics are just so incredible and meaningful that I think it really stands out a lot. And yeah, I think he's in a really good position going into the final.
I would say so too. I've been hearing a lot of what people have been saying from Sweden, and a lot of people have been talking about not only him as an artist, but also the song's success. So the ingredients are certainly there for a win. My only takeaway is that for whatever reason, like I just don't love the song itself. It feels a bit familiar in a number of ways. It isn't to say that like it makes me dislike the song. It's just like thinking about what Sweden has brought to Eurovision in the past number of years, this doesn't seem to live up to it as much as I would hope. But again, clearly a heavyweight. I think that the feeling of empowerment comes through in a lot of ways, not just in the lyrics, not just in his voice, but even with the staging too. They do a lot of really cool, like even just like the gestures of him and the dancers. It's very clear to see. And yeah, like clearly a favorite. EC Manga saying Tusse's performance was excellent, very good at the song. Michael Forbes saying potential winner. I love the song the first time I heard it, and boy, can you sing! Definitely. Neil Era really, Tusse really sells it. Has something really charming and powerful. Nicola, on the other hand, doesn't understand the hype around Tusse. He says it's an amazing voice, but the song does nothing to me. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm coming from, and I don't really. I don't know how to discuss it any further than that, but
I understand. It's Tusse. Once again, he's super likable. There are lots of likable artists here, but yeah, maybe the song is missing something. I can understand that people think that.
Linda also saying has actual gold in his voice. Doesn't get the song though. It's in this case it's not just you, but maybe it seems like it still has enough support to be a winner, and it's clearly a very competitive year overall. Let's see. Nicola asking a question to you, Emma. Is it true that the locals tend to call Melfest Schlager Festival?
Not in many years. No, it was a long time ago we actually called it. And when I say Schlager, I think about the hits from the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. That's what you can call a Schlager.
I have to say, it's interesting sometimes to see certain songs be described as Schlager, because again, it's just something I'm never going to fully understand, because it's like I always kind of see what they're going for, but to me, like Schlager in this show is solidly Charlotte Perrelli and Arvingarna, and that's it.
Yeah. Because they remind you of earlier times, the 90s, 80s. Maybe that's why you get this Schlager nostalgic feeling when you hear them.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anything else strike you as Schlager in this, Tommy?
Yeah, I said earlier that Beat of Broken Heart gives me that kind of
Oh
a
yeah,
vibe, but I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like it's that kind of a melody, but with like a modern application in terms of like a modern pop song, but with like Schlager elements in terms of melody. So yeah, I guess maybe it's evolving in some way.
Yeah, it's fascinating for me as an outsider. Now let's move on to something that's totally not Schlager, or maybe it is, but in my opinion, it seems to be like not what I would call Schlager. It's Alvaro Estrella. His song is called Baila Baila. Let's begin with you, Tommy. Your thoughts on Alvaro?
Yeah, I feel like I've heard this song a million times in a million different ways, and I feel like there's a song like this on the radio basically every summer. And from that perspective, I guess the familiarity is nice, and that might work in his favor. But for me and for Eurovision, in Eurovision terms, I don't think it's a good selection for Sweden. And it's a nice song. I appreciate the summer vibes and the Spanish elements, etc. But yeah, I feel like it's been done before many times.
I don't disagree with you, and I think that especially when we're talking about Alvaro and his contributions to Melfest, this is kind of what he does, right? Like he's always got that easygoing pop song, usually with a little bit of a Latin pop flavor to it. Emma, your thoughts on his song?
Yeah, but I agree with Tommy. It's nice with the summer feeling, but I have felt with people who I talk to that this is a very polarizing song. Either you love it, you feel like, oh, this is the song I'm gonna party to in the summer, and it gives me good vibes. And lots of people really hate it. Actually, they hate the lyrics. They don't understand the baila baila thing, and they can't accept that. Okay, this song is supposed to be silly. Just accept that.
Yeah. I'm curious, do you feel like those people, like how do you feel like those people think of Dandi Dansa?
No, it's something different with Dansa. There is something maybe jazzy about it. So maybe it's more like accepted in some kind of way. The Baila Baila is just, yeah, cheesy, people think. But I
A
like
little
it.
bit
I
too
think
cliche, I think.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's totally cliche, and the sound that I am like instantly reminded of would be the early English songs from Enrique Iglesias, because it, like, when you think about like Bailamos and all that stuff from the early 2000s, maybe even early 90s, just they're indistinguishable for me, and yeah, certainly not a contender. What you had a thought, Emma?
Yeah, fun fact, you mentioned Enrique Iglesias. I think that the songwriter behind Baila Baila, one of them, has worked with him. Not sure, but I think. And he's won like Grammy Awards for Latin albums with lots of word stars, actually.
Interesting. So I mean, when it comes to Alvaro, if he comes back to Melfest, I want to see him doing something that doesn't have a Melfest approach. I want him, like, give us something, because
Schlager.
Martin. Well, maybe not that.
Maybe not.
that wouldn't be my vote. But Spanish Latin American music, it's really popular right now. It continues to be popular, and there'd be an opportunity to do something really, really powerful and really, like, outside the box for Sweden. But I don't know. Maybe he's not necessarily interested in doing that kind of thing. Sarah Halloran saying Baila Baila would be ideal for summer parties. I have to say, I really like the staging. It fits the song perfectly. Lots of color. Again, it's a very carefree and easy song. Yana saying Hurricane has a good song. Loco Loco. They have yes. So Hurricane, who's representing Serbia this year in Eurovision, has the Spanish title. Not exactly the same kind of song, I would say, but kind of easygoing pop. Neil Era saying that it's a guilty pleasure for him. And Michael Forbes saying this is this year's Vamos Amigos. It's fun, but bottom of the table. Again, looks better than Vamos Amigos, because I didn't like how that looked last year. I don't know. Did you like Vamos Amigos, Emma?
Yeah, I like the song, but I agree with you, actually. The song was better, Vamos Amigos, but the staging is better with Baila Baila.
Mm-hmm. In Nicolas' case, he's saying he really doesn't like Baila Baila, but he loves Dandi Dansa. And Sarah Halloran saying this has Ricky Martin vibes as well. I did also think of Ricky Martin, but I think it reminds me a lot more of Enrique Iglesias, I have to say. And Swede Miro is saying many of Iglesias' songs were written and produced in Sweden, which makes sense because Swedish songwriters work with everyone who's landed in the top 40. But let's move on. We've got Clara Klingenström. Emma, can you help me out with this title because I'm going to butcher it again?
Behöver inte, idag.
Wonderful. Begin. Tell us what you think of that song.
This is the song from Andra chansen that is going to succeed the best, I think. This is really a grower, and it beat Eva and Eva. Can you imagine? So this must be some kind of success. And it's growing. It's a catchy song, and it's in Sweden. It reminds you of popular Swedish artists as Lars Winnerbäck, for example. So this is going, I think, top 5. Absolutely.
I would say that it feels a lot. It's surprising for Melfest. Like I can't really think of songs that we've seen in the past that are like this. And as I understand, like she's quite a young artist. For her to have made it this far with a song that's in Swedish, with something that's quite, not completely alternative, but substantially more alternative than the rest of the songs, I would say, is like a great success. Yeah. And Tommy, how do you feel about this one?
Yeah, for me, for this song, I've listened to it a couple of times and I've not really been able to get hooked into it. I do appreciate that it's she's keeping the performance simple and kind of just delivering the song and delivering it well. And it's also really nice to hear some Swedish in the final. But for me, it's not really grabbing my attention. But maybe I need to give it a bit more of a chance. I'm not sure.
When she performed, I believe it was in semifinal 4. I kind of felt the same way, but I think that it was because I wasn't giving it enough attention, and it definitely grew on me when I watched it again and again. I think that there's a lot of things that work well with this. I wouldn't call it a winner by any means, but it's refreshing for Melfest, and I think that that's important. I think that we're going to see some of that. Well, we already see some of that here in the comments. Neil Era saying, so pure and honest. Linda saying, people love Clara. She's very likable. And I understand that her song is doing quite well in the streaming charts. Have you seen any of that? Any news about that, Emma?
No, I haven't seen, but I just heard like the hype about it. And it's really one more song that really got benefit by the Andra chansen. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And it's alternative, but it's still catchy enough to have a good place in Melodifestivalen.
Definitely. And I hope that you're right about this being the song that benefits the most from the second chance round. And Nicolas saying, oh, this is an interesting comparison. The Swedish Taylor Swift. I wouldn't say Taylor Swift nowadays, maybe like in her early days when her songs were a little bit more laid back and country. But even still, it's like not the first artist I would compare it to.
But I would definitely say that Clara Hammarström, the second Clara, is more like Taylor Swift.
Yeah, definitely. Like the Taylor Swift that we see nowadays.
They're two different Taylors.
Yeah, the other one was killed. You see Manga saying, "I love Clara. Listen to the song every day. Great, she deserves to win." That would be a huge surprise if she did, but. And again, like it's great to come into this kind of selection and have no other song that's comparable, because I feel like most of the other songs they kind of tread on one other song's territory in small ways. Yusuf says that Clara is so underrated, and Swede Miro is saying Clara is like if a real artist with the real lyrics stuck into Melfest. Anything from the lyrics that you're picking up on, Emma?
Nah, it's nothing. For me, it's nothing special. I'm not so good at listening to the lyrics, actually. I'm more of an instrumentalist, but it's more like I Don't Need You Today is the title, and it's very confident. And yeah, I can imagine that lots of people like their lyrics.
Latvian is asking, why is Sweden not part of the Big Five? I believe it's because they don't really want to be part of the Big Five, and they don't really need to secure a spot in the final when they, have such a strong means of selecting a song. Tommy, do you think that you'd want to see Sweden in well, I guess that would make them the Big Six, right?
Yeah, I think, they don't need it, do they? Has Sweden ever not qualified? Mm-hmm. I'm sure never. Really?
Once, yeah.
2010.
Okay,
Yes,
I need to check that out.
With Anna Bergendahl, and I'd have to say, like, it was a good song, and that would not be the one that I would have chosen to not qualify. Nonetheless, let's move on to the next song. We've got a returning winner, Erik Saade. His song's called Every Minute. Tommy, start us off. How do you feel about this one?
So in terms of, like, I guess the battle of the boys between Danny and
Anton?
oh my God, I've gone blank now. Anton, yeah, and the singer of Baila Baila. In terms of the battle of the boys, I think this is the strongest one. For me, yeah, I like the kind of contemporary dance style choreography that he's doing on the stage. The vocals aren't sensational, but that doesn't really bother me because because of all of the dancing and the stage show that's happening. And the poor man gets like dragged across the stage as well between everything. So yeah, he still manages to dance, and I keep up with that like Matrix style moving cinematography that's going around him. So for me, yeah, I really like the song. I just I like the production. I like the sound. It's like a bit more urban, not so poppy, a little bit more urban and dancey, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, I really like it, but I'm still trying to figure out what it's about. Do you know, Stuart?
What it's about?
One more time.
Every minute?
Yeah.
What could somebody possibly want every minute?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, this is a big question. Yeah. Emma, we've talked a little, like, maybe not quite a bit, but we did talk a little bit about this when it went directly to the final. I'm curious to see if your opinions have changed since then.
Well, if you say that Clara Klingenström is the most underrated artist, I think this is the most overrated artist in the final.
Interesting.
And I like Erik Saade. He's a good artist, and he's really talented in his performance. It's very hard to make such a performance that is more like a music video than a live stage. But it disturbs me that this is too much of a copy of two other songs, actually. And I don't know, but it gets stuck in my head all the time, and it annoys me a little bit.
Very catchy. Like the hook is very effective, and I really have to say that this is an incredibly competitive entry in many ways. Like, production is modern, as I already said. The hook is distinctive, and the staging is really at the center of this because it is executed so well. I'm going to nerd out a little bit because I do really love the approach to the staging, and typically with a song like this, you would expect a big kind of elaborate light show, lots of camera cuts, making it dynamic in that way. But what they did, which is really smart because everybody else is going for that approach, all the movement comes from him and the camera, and well, for the beginning, and then eventually it gets, a little bit more stuff happens with the lights, but they keep it minimal for the first part, which is really when you need to draw people in. Definitely a potential winner. It's interesting to hear you say that you feel like it's overrated. I mean, I want to say that it's overrated, but like let me get to why like I'm not sold on it. And Tommy, you touched on this as well, because the vocals really aren't there. It's not a vocal show, and I can see people already in the comments being like, "Well, he's a performer." In my opinion, you can have a song with kind of empty lyrics as long as the vocals make up for it. You can allow the vocal performance to kind of suffer a little bit if the lyrics make up for it. I don't know if I said that right, but anyway, like if one of those two things are missing, then it's fine. But in this case, both things are missing, and I feel like what they're doing is a magic show, and they're kind of distracting from the music, which should be at the center of it. So that's why, like, I don't want this to be chosen, even though I feel like it definitely could. And I also feel like a good portion of the Eurovision fan base and the Eurovision general public are kind of tired of this thing. Like, I think it matters to have a song that resonates with people, and this just isn't doing it for me in that way. But it is like it's a great effort overall, I would say. And I'm seeing this right now. Oops, it's not the one I wanted to put up, but this is the one. Eric feels like Ingrosso 2.0, and I feel like this could, if this goes to Eurovision, because it's so polished, but not necessarily getting the musical part of it down the best, it could have that kind of success. I don't know. Is that where is that why you feel it's overrated as well, Emma?
Yeah, but you don't get like the same relationship between this entry if you compare to the Mamas or even Danny. Actually, he has more the charismatic thing about it, and you connect with the people. And this one is good, and it's very professional and all that, pretentious a little bit. So it doesn't connect with the people in the same way.
Yeah, I think that that connection is really important, and like my guess would be Tommy as well. That's kind of the missing piece for you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I also have the same thoughts that you two are having in terms of wanting there to be some more substance over style and a little bit more depth than what you'd see on the surface in this case. But for some reason, there's something about this that is working for me, and I think maybe it's just a combination of factors in terms of the performance, the dancing, the cinematography, the like balance of light and dark. But whereas like I would level the same criticism on Dandi Dansa for like making up for a song that I don't think is as good with the staging, but for some reason, and I can't really put my finger on it, I don't have that same feeling with this one. And I mean, I get it that it's like quite a simple, straightforward pop song, but for me, just kind of in the round, all things considered, as a final production, I think it's standing out for me and like heading towards the top. But yeah, the vocals are lacking. I will agree with that much. Yeah, for sure.
I agree with you though. Like this is, regardless of what happens, this is going to be somewhere in the top. Like well, I guess maybe thinking about last year with Boys with Emotions, because this was kind of in that territory as well, where it was very flashy, but vocals lacking, lyrics trying to go for sensitivity and not really succeeding. There's a comment I wanted to put up here. Swede Mira saying, I can't get the image of a man that really needs to pee when I see that.
Okay.
Interesting observation. Absolutely.
Oh man.
Maybe that's what he's singing about.
that's what he needs to do.
Overactive bladder.
Yeah.
He needs to go to the doctor.
That would make a great parody if anybody's really good at that stuff, and anybody wants to make a parody of this. Michael Forbes saying, it's okay vocally, it will be shut down by the juries. I don't get the connection between the words and the dance, but the public will eat it up, and it's Eric. I actually think that it could be the opposite, because the juries, like, they perhaps overrate that flashy quality when it comes to Melfest. And I mean, arguably when it comes to Eurovision as well. Yeah, anyway, I think we've talked about this quite a bit, and we still have 2 more songs to get to. So let's get to another big favorite, Dr. Little Tots. Emma, tell me, how do you feel about her song?
Yeah, they saved the 2 best songs to the last, according to me. And this is personally my winner. I loved Dr. last year, and I love her song this year. Lots of people, they compare it to Bulletproof, but in this case, I think they are equally good, actually. And that's unusual for such a success last year. But I think lots of people don't agree with me on that point.
I don't know. I still see lots of people really wanting this, especially because of how last year ended with her losing out on the win by 1 point. I see so many comments about how she's coming back for revenge, even though that might not necessarily be the case for her, but obviously people like to think of it in that way. So definitely like, one that people are expecting to do well, at least. Tommy, is this a song that you think, well, I mean, personally, is this a song that you like?
Yeah, I think this is a challenger for the top spot for sure. Yeah, she's come back, I think, even stronger than last year with like a song that's quite similar. You can still tell that it's Daughter and Daughter style, but also very refreshing and new. It doesn't feel like a rehash, whereas you might feel like that with the Mamas. But yeah, I think she's a big challenger for the top spot. Like the song melodically and lyrically is really strong. The production on the track is really good. Her voice is sensational, and like those inflections that she puts into her voice are so good. The stage presence is like 100%. And she's just such a professional on the stage in terms of like she hits every camera angle with like 100% precision, like effortlessly, like a pro every time. And yeah, she just has a strength on the stage, you know, that's just really compelling.
And the big difference between her and Erik Saade is that she still has this professional number, but she still gets the connection to the audience better, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And you know, you guys mentioned a lot of things that I definitely agree with as well. I would say that this probably has the best melody of all the songs. It's one that, you know, ever since semifinal 2 has been in my head. And yeah, like very professional. The staging, it doesn't have like the big impact that Erik's staging has, but it's very tasteful and the darkness fits the song really well. Definitely a contender for the win. I want to get to what some of you guys are saying. Nicola thinking that it's that she is not going to benefit from coming after Erik. Potentially, that could be. You know, I mean, I think that goes both ways. I think her coming after Erik could be bad for him. Obviously, there's lots of theories about how this works, but you know, we'll have to see. Sarah saying daughter is so cute. There we go. We got Linda saying, daughter damn, she's amazing. Yeah. She deserves it so much. Neil Era saying, I like daughter better this year somehow. Maybe it's because it's more about her without relying on light gimmicks. I mean, sure, the affectionately called laser boobs maybe were a little bit too gimmicky for some people. But I mean, they're iconic. They're laser boobs.
Yeah, like something from Austin Powers, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Emma.
But she really came in the shadows here in the winning debate. It feels like the talking is between Tusse and Erik Saade. But it feels like people are forgetting Dotter, and hopefully people are going to get reminded of her when she performs on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, again, it just goes to show you how many favorites there are. There isn't a single clear runaway favorite. Winner. Daughter can sing Humpty Dumpty, and I would vote for it. I prefer this to last year. Nicola is saying this could do better on ESC than Melfest. So, like, suggesting if it were internally selected. And that's an interesting thought, because it is always two different audiences, and Melfest is such a big show in its own right that I'm sure there are lots of songs that would do, like, quote unquote better without having to make it past that first hurdle. Swede Miro saying the Dancing Boys will steal votes from each other and pave the way for Daughter and the Mamas. Potentially.
Ooh, I like that thought.
Yeah, they are quite spaced out from one another, but it does make me think of some other selections, like one of the semifinals of Estilal. There were 3 songs performed by solo females that all kind of had this funky disco rhythm to them, and none of them qualified. So maybe that could be working here as well. Okay, I've lost my place in the comments, so I think let's just move on to the next one. The last one, we've got Arvingarna. Emma, help us out with this title, because it sounds really rude in English if we say it wrong.
Tänker, inte alls gå hem.
And I have to say, it also doesn't help with the hand motion that they do either. I won't elaborate on what it means.
Can I just ask, is that an inside joke? Is it kind of a double meaning? Is it intentional, or
I think
is it
it's
intentional, do you think?
Easygoing dance band pop. Okay, they're not going home from the party. They are happy. That's
okay. Take us home, Tommy. How do you feel about this song?
Yeah, once I got past the initial reaction to those lyrics, it's nice. It's fine, and it's a little bit too cheesy for me. But I think for fans of musicals, they'll find this a joy to watch. It gives me a real musicals vibe. But for me personally, it's not to my taste. But I think, like, within the nation, you know, within Sweden and maybe internationally as well, it could be quite popular in terms of you know, a fun party cheesy song. But really, the vibe I get for me personally is like when your parents are dancing to some kind of old song at a wedding and you're kind of just embarrassed. That's how I would describe it.
I definitely agree with that analogy, and the very first thing that I thought of when the song begins is a Bee Gees song. It's a tragedy, because it's got this dun 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 thing, and you know, it's got, like, overall the feeling is maybe a little bit more Motown. I don't know, Motown Schlager, if you want to call it that. But Emma, I understand that this is a song that because you said that we're finishing with the best 2 songs, and so this is definitely one that you really like.
Yeah, but I would like to hear if we have any viewers from United Kingdom. I would like to know if they like this, because I heard something that just Arvingarna, they're very popular among the audience in the United Kingdom because they are somehow reminds you of the Beatles. They have some influence from them, some way. But yeah, this is easy. You like it, you get happy, and they have. This is the 6th time actually they are joining Melodifestivalen. First time 1993 when they won with Eloise, came 7 in Eurovision. So I don't think we should underrate their chances in Eurovision if they win.
Interesting. Again, like I have no idea what to say when it comes to Schlager songs. You can guarantee that because of the supposed double entendre, I'm gonna remember this song more than perhaps some other more Schlagery entries. But nonetheless, let's just get to some of your comments. Sarah Halloran says it kind of reminds her of Hairspray, Grease, and Chicago. Yeah, and like you said, Tommy, like it has this theatrical vibe to it. It does feel like, you know, maybe a big number, you know, from like Jersey Boys or something, and especially the props, that how they're kind of like street lamps, so it helps give it that feeling of like a set from a musical.
Their songs would really fit for a musical, actually.
Yeah,
I hope they make one.
Yeah, that would be perfect, and that would be something I would go to see based on what I've seen from them. As for going to Eurovision, it wouldn't be my choice, but clearly there are some people that really like this. Neil Era saying they're so likable, and also saying that the UK jury gave 12 points to them in 2019, and I believe that the UK has they'll be one of the juror members for this show. They're part of the international jury this time as well, so maybe that's a good
12 points
thing.
again.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see. Okay, so now that we've come to the end of all of the songs, let's talk winners. Obviously, we've been talking about that in the midst of it, but let's challenge ourselves to choose at least one, whether it's the song that you want to win the most or the song that you think is going to win, or both. Let's start with you, Emma. Who is it for you?
I really want Dotter to win. I think Rotterdam should come true. But I hope I'm wrong. But I think Tusse is going to be the winner. But it will be an even battle in the end.
Okay. Tommy, you.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think it's to answer both questions, who I think will win and who I want to win. I think there's two that will rise to the top. That's Dotter and Tusse. And I think either of them who are selected, they will do really well at Eurovision. So yeah, I think it's a battle between Dotter and Tusse, and then the Mamas may be in the mix.
Yeah, it is really, really tight. And basically what I want to say about these 4 potential heavyweights is I feel like Tusse has the best vocals, Eric has the best staging, Dotter has the best melody, and the Mamas, in my opinion, have a little bit of everything. They may not be the best in like any of those capacities, but they at least bring it all together. I do understand that because of the fact that they are returning artists, they've been associated with Melfest for the last little while. People might be wanting something new, and that could work against them. But I still want to believe that they can win this. Although if I was like that's like, me speaking from my heart and wanting them to win. I was thinking before this that it was going to be Eric, but now after having spoken to you guys and like that everybody kind of sees through this big flashy production, that maybe I'm wrong and maybe it would be Tusse or Dotter that do it in the end. So I think it speaks to the strength of the show. Always great to have lots of big competitors, then have one clear favorite and have them win, because that definitely happened in a few countries this year. And please.
Oh.
All right.
Stuart has frozen on us there. But yeah, so Emma, final thoughts on the final lineup for Melfest?
I'm so excited. It's going to be super, super exciting to see. And as you said, there are many favorites, and it's a strong final. And it's an interesting thing. Are you thinking you want the best song that your personal favorite should win? Oh, it's like
my personal, yeah, my personal favorite, I think, will be Daughter, for sure. I think based on all the reasons we've said, melody, heart, performance, staging, she's got the full package.
Yeah.
But also, I'm like surprised that people are thinking that Eric is kind of near the top spot also. So yeah, I guess it's going to be quite interesting, and we'll find out on Saturday.
And I saw a comment here, actually. Can you put them on? I thought someone was mentioning Den Vilda, I saw, from 1996. And I like that comment because that's actually one of my absolutely favorite winners from the history of Melodifestivalen.
Ah, okay. Not seeing that one just at the moment, but
yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've made it through the 10 songs. We've given our predictions, and all that's left now is to get excited about Melodifestivalen and the final on Saturday night. So
it was a good
Emma,
timing
I mean, you're invested. Yeah, good timing. You're invested. This is your country selection, so I hope you're happy with the outcome.
Yeah, only
And I
Eva
guess-
and Eva. That's the ones I'm missing. Otherwise,
maybe next year. Maybe next year. Okay, so with that, I think it's time to say goodnight to everybody and talk to you all soon.
bye.